Good day and welcome to Rocket with Chief. My name is Daniel Robus and I'm your host. In today's episode, we are joined by our friends from Datacentrix, SUSE, and IBM to discuss all things architectural and how they impact the data center, where your data is stored, and how you access your applications. A really interesting discussion which involves lots of IT folk and some questions from our audience. As you may be guessing, this was based off a webinar which we held.
Guys, and welcome to today's session. We're just going to hang on as all of our attendees join us, and we're going to kick off the live stream as well. So I will do our intro in about 1 minute.
Did we have music this time, Kerry? A little bit of jazz for a winter.
Waiting for you to pull out your guitar first, Dad. I know that's coming soon.
I'm surprised at Kerry's humor for all of our attendees. Kerry's had about 12 minutes sleep in the last 3 days, but she's looking remarkable. Whereas the rest of our guests are, you're looking all a bit scary. Hey, Magnus.
Rose amongst the thorns here. All right, guys, so I'm going to say good morning and welcome to our webinar on Powering Your Platform Performance. Thank you all for joining us today to delve into the hot topics around enterprise architecture today. We welcome your active participation in today's event. Please do use the Q&A functionality and pose any questions that you'd like answered. We will be discussing these during and after the panel discussion. If you'd like to voice your questions or points directly, please utilize the raise hand function and I'll promote you to the panel so that you can ask our panelists live. This is your session, so let's engage, let's answer your questions. And without further ado, I'm now going to hand over to Daniel Robus, our host and moderator for today's session.
Thank you so much, Kerry, and a formal thank you for our panelists for joining us. We have representatives from SUSE, from IBM, and from Datacentrix, and I'm learning more and more about all organizations. I'm really glad that you've made the time for this discourse. When we consider the tough times faced by businesses on our continent in Africa, IT directors are pummeled by a multitude of challenges. How do we stay ahead of our clients' transformational objectives whilst cutting our carbon footprint and enabling comprehensive security solutions in a work from anywhere on any device network world? Just raise your glass if you don't have a cup of coffee. I'm drinking an amazing Arabic mixture. It's fantastic. And we are celebrating No Mask Thursday in South Africa. I know for a lot of internationals, that's not a big thing, but for me, I really didn't enjoy wearing face masks the last 3 months. And that speaks to the rate of change we are going through in the world. So this change affects the bedrock of organizations, and that's the architecture and where we go. And we got together a couple of the key people from Datacentrix. And my first is Graham, who I'm going to introduce you. Graham is part of the Datacentrix leadership team. You've been living this change on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis. What does your average day look like?
Hi, Daniel. Thank you. And thank you for the intro. Our customers I see you on a daily sort of basis, and the activities that we're looking at is a lot of infrastructure optimization and implementation projects, some customization of and consolidation on and standardization of the OSs. Okay, and that leads to improved management of those platforms. And we also look at customizing applications to some of our clients' requirements. So those are some of the things that I deal with clients on a regular basis.
Stunning. You know, so you have rolled your sleeves up and you're still in the middle of it. I know you're part of the leadership team and the senior leadership team, but this issue of the technology layer, why does it still play such an important role? Is a piece of tin not simply a piece of tin?
Daniel, a lot of people will say tin is tin, okay, except when there's a competitive advantage, okay, that you gain from a certain technology. So, technology brings that your speed to market a lot quicker. It gives your clients, well, our clients, the competitive edge that they need. Okay, and it also brings new routes and ideas to market, and these technology changes just speed up that performance. Can you imagine still running on a DOS machine?
Oh my word, you're showing your age.
Today.
I don't even know what DOS is, Graham. Come on, man.
Oh,
yeah. So when you consider that the differentiator can be there from an architectural perspective and have real business benefits, why do you think this partnership of IBM and Linux is of interest to people who are attending this call? To me, why is it important in South Africa?
IBM and Linux, IBM's been around with Datacentrix for many years, and Linux has grown significantly in probably the same amount of time, and a lot of people are putting Linux in their platform for a number of reasons, okay? And I just, our strategic relationship with IBM has allowed us to grow this Linux partnership. And we've got almost a dedicated force looking at Linux for us. We've recently brought on Quentin Brousseau from on my team, and he's going to look after this portfolio.
Awesome. Quentin, you are going to be in the hot seat very soon. So Quentin, what do you do at Datacentrix? Quentin, why are you on this call?
Okay, so the reason I'm actually on this call and why I joined Datacentrix, which is now almost 2 months ago, is the market has started to show a bit of demand around, getting skill sets around the Linux and more the open source, type of technologies running on these pieces of tin, as you call it. And my driver and role as a solution specialist for Datacentrix is to actually now go in possession with our traditional type of salespeople and customers or whatever, to actually go and find the value for them out of these Linux platforms. But the one thing that Graham has put there, and I wanted to add on to it, is people are definitely more looking at the technology stacks now, except for the competitive edge. They need their tech to give them results quickly, right? The analyzing of the data that they basically are analyzing, or the data to be available for them to analyze, is important for them to make decisions that will propel business in the direction they want to propel it. So my role at this stage of Datacentrix is just to basically sit down with our customers and just figure out where can we make a difference and where open source will play a role with them, because whether the guys like it or not, open source is playing a bigger and bigger role even in the local economy, purely because it's also interoperable.
Awesome, thank you. Magnus, where are you sitting at the moment? It looks stunning there, and you're in a short sleeve t-shirt. Where are you from? Which organization, and why are you here?
Thank you. I actually brought a shirt with a SUSE logo, so it's not a t-shirt. Sorry, guys. That will be later for today. I'm Magnus Kellqvist. I'm based in Stockholm, in Sweden. At the moment, I'm on the other side of the bridge to Denmark. So I'm in the south of Sweden. It's a little bit greener down here. I'm working for SUSE. One of the vendors, I would say one of the three major Linux vendors. And if we look at the SAP, I would say there are only two. That's we and our competitor Red Hat.
You can't mention the competitor now. Come on. Next, I'm going to have to drop an IBM competitor just to keep up with you.
Open wall, Daniel.
In the open source world, we're all friends.
Yes, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly. So Magnus, we are talking about open source on IBM. To me, that almost seems like an oxymoron. and I'm looking forward to diving into it further. But let me tell you what, or let me ask you, from your perspective of a European specification, you guys are boots and all in architectural design. We've got hybrid strategies which are accepted from all sides. We've got on-prem, we've got cloud, we've got public data centers. Is there a space for open source, or are your markets declining at the moment?
No, on the contrary, our market for open source in general is really growing. I mean, if I then address what we're doing together with IBM on the Power Machine, I would say that open source, and especially Linux, is a very, very good fit especially for the Power Machine, because if you want to scale out, if you want to have the most powerful machine, and addressing what this webinar is, I mean, the machine is built for SAP HANA. It's perfect for it. I let IBM update you on the current figures, how much of SAP HANA is running of the total 100% of the machine later, but I can assure you it's a huge amount, and we are still growing with it. Did I answer correctly?
You did. There is a good space there. Hold on, Quinton. Hold on for me. Magnus, you did answer, and I'm quite interested because Yassal has been nodding a lot there. So Yassal, I am going to introduce you right now. Quinton just wanted to dive in and add something.
Yeah, just for, Yassal can attest to this. Although you said IBM and open source are oxymoron, actually IBM are one of the biggest contributors towards a multitude of open source projects out there. It is something that IBM has been doing for years. So it should not shock people, actually.
You just opened the door for me to ask Yassal. Yassal Akgun, where is that from? That's an interesting surname.
It is an interesting one, exactly. Thank you for inviting, and that's in this lovely discussion, guys. I mean, this is Yassal Akgun. I'm based in Dubai. I am responsible from Power Technical Sellers across Middle East and Africa. Okay. And I have been in Joburg 3 weeks ago. It was a lovely boot camp with our business partners, and I'm willing to come again, hopefully with the Power 10 scale out announcement, which will be late July, and hope to meet you in person. Number one. Awesome. Number two, Linux and open source. Dears, they are indispensable. I have to say that. It is clear. That's why, as my friends mentioned, IBM and open source, they're like, stakeholders, I would say. And Linux, I do remember Power Systems do support Linux distributions for 2 decades, maybe.
Wow. I
do remember late 90s or early 2000, 2001, 2002. I do remember with Regatta Power 4 generation, Linux used to be supported. It's still supported. So it's more than 20 years history. Power Systems, IBM, and Linux, and open source support. So as I said, it's indispensable. We should get ready for that if we haven't yet.
Okay.
Not just OS level.
Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That's great. What do you do at IBM, Yassal?
Okay, I'm leading Power Technical Sellers across Middle East and Africa, as I said. And when we think about Power, it's not just a server. I have to mention that. It's a full solution for your business, not only for business critical, but also for, as I said, for open source and for Linux distributions. Okay. And it's clear, being able to reconfigure, being able to modernize, being able to adapt to the changing demands, especially during this pandemic, is a key requirement for today's systems infrastructure, as you mentioned. So we have to respond faster to business demands. We need to protect data from core to cloud. Okay. And we have to streamline insights and automation, which is crucial.
Okay. Awesome, Yasel. That's very cool. Now we've got a grounding for who's on the call with us. There are 28 different people and a whole bunch streaming on LinkedIn who we also want to get to do some work. So Carrie is going to pop a poll onto the chat, and we're going to ask our attendees just to answer the questions that have come up. There's no prize for you, unfortunately, no prize, except we will discuss what comes through. So if you are on the Zoom call, you should have the poll in front of you. The questions are fairly self-explanatory, so even I can understand them. I can see that we've got one answer coming through. The questions are: operational enterprise performance is hampered by complex architecture and security concerns. Where my enterprise workloads reside is less of a concern now than it was 2 years ago. The majority of my enterprise workloads live on-prem, local data center, cloud hyperscaler, or other, and operational effectiveness is being impacted by staff movement and the war for talent. Now, that war for talent is a very interesting one. We see lots coming out of Europe and America on the Great Resignation. And from an Africa perspective, we are seeing the Great Migration. Graham, are you seeing that people are coming to you simply because their IT teams can't keep up? We're losing the staff, or is that not a driver?
No, it's definitely a driver. Clients are getting hold of us on a regular basis and saying their environment is struggling due to lack of talent. They are struggling to find resources. And ourselves included are always on the lookout for good resources, because we just have the requirements from our clients to assist them. So
awesome.
Yes.
So if you're in South Africa, I know Datacentrix has got amazing staff benefits. Put your CV in. Come on, Graham's waiting. Quinton, you moved across there. Are you seeing that customers are struggling with dealing with these gaps in their IT teams and the skill sets, or am I making up something?
No, you're not really making up something. That's a big challenge. Let's call it, for if we're looking local markets, the biggest challenge for us is at this stage is to have sufficient skills, right? And the issue most of the customers face is, they do invest in these skills, and you drive a person to become an administrator or an engineer, whatever the case is, and 5-10 years down the line, like you said, now we're into a talent war where the person moves, from one company to another. And I think the drive from us, and Graham and I actually had a nice chat about it this morning. I said to him, I feel passionate about wanting to teach more people and get more people to actually use these, online type of courses that companies like SUSE and that give for free to their partners, and that to get them more skilled up and, try and point them out into a different type of career if needed, right? And, where people see a challenge, I see an opportunity at this stage for a lot of, people from a grassroots level to actually become more IT savvy, if we can put it that way, and actually to provide to their families.
Just to add to that, sorry, Daniel.
Go, Graham.
We have a very strong SMME program as well, that we work with SMMEs to grow that side of the business as well, for skills and that for our clients.
That's interesting. Magnus, have you had a look at anything standing out of the first question for you, which is an overwhelming sense? 88% of our attendees are saying operational performance is hampered by complex architecture and security concerns. Is this, how does Power and yourself help to minimize this complexity? What are you doing, or are you, adding to the complexity?
As I said before, SUSE, Linux, and the Power Machine is the absolute best fit. And our security solution, our HA availability extension, our live patching, that is all of that is bundled in our SAP HANA solution. So yes.
So you're saying that because it's all bundled, it gets ready to rock and roll a lot quicker, and it doesn't require that human intervention. That's what I understood. I'm hoping that's what you were saying.
Exactly, that is what I was saying, and the ease of installation, etc. The automated process. If you compare to the other vendors in the environment we are working on, we have actually a longer experience, and especially on the Power Machine, we have been since 2017 as the first Linux, and we're unique for 2 years. That means that we have had a longer time to develop on the machine and enhance, for example, security and the extensions I mentioned.
Okay, Yassal, I'm coming to you because we got a tough question. You were just in Johannesburg. You understand the state of where we are. We've got potholes and low money. So Natasha has asked, is this at all applicable to the SMME market? And then maybe we can get Quentin from a Datacentrix to answer it. So first from the power and the open source layer that we've got, and then secondly, we'll talk just around the hosting of this and looking after it. Go yourself.
Okay, so definitely. So we have enterprise solutions, and we have also mid-range and scale-out solutions really yield amazing results when we consider flexibility, resiliency, performance, and competitive cost, which is super important for our customers. So why Power Systems, as my friend mentioned, especially for SAP HANA? I have to say, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server is the #1 operating system, #1 solution for SAP HANA workloads on any infrastructure. And why Power? Especially for small and medium industry and the market. #1, we have to help them to get more flexible by the help of superior virtualization, Power VC, and with the help of management features to afford flexibility and maximum utilization. We don't have luxury to keep the resources idle. We have to utilize them. So #1. #2, definitely the resiliency. So REST features to support mission critical SAP applications on SUSE. So should be up and running 7/24 to get ready for any unplanned stuff as well. The performance, #3, which is very important as well. The highest throughput per core and core to memory bandwidth, especially for SAP HANA with SUSE Linux Enterprise, to deliver faster business results, up to 2 times better than, I have to say, Intel-based alternatives. Last but not least, competitive cost. So flexibility, performance, RAS features equals better total cost of ownership. This is crucial for our customers, for us. That's why Power with the SUSE Linux Enterprise, the best combination, especially for SAP HANA.
Awesome. Quentin, I'm going to ask you a tough question on that. We are talking about small to medium organizations. Do they have a space at Datacentrix? And does this discussion come into it, or do they? Yeah.
Let's simplify it. So
yes,
the majority of opportunities and discussions I've had thus far are not with your traditional bigger enterprises, be that in your financial or telco, whatever sector.
Okay.
Right. So there's definitely a space for this within your SME or SMEs, or whatever you want to call the smaller companies, right? And again, the open source side of it, and Yassal has actually covered it beautifully, right? The idea behind the Linux is it's a more agile type of solution that you put there for you guys, so they can tailor it to the needs of their business. And I mean, whether it's a big enterprise or it's a small SME, the one thing that they're all looking at this stage is to actually just get results out of the data that they are, or out of this whole technology stack that they've put down there, to understand the data and go, I need to move a little bit left or 3 degrees to the right if I can use that thing, just to make my business a bit more effective or to be more competitive against my competitors.
So
in terms
so
of
maybe
price,
maybe the question I should be asking you is actually, what are the SMMEs or any Datacentrix customer trying to solve by using this as a foundational layer, Power with open source on top of it, as part of their enterprise architecture? What is the business problem we're trying to solve here?
So I'm going to, it's pure and simple from my point of view, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the guys from IBM and SUSE can add to it. My perspective is majority of the guys at this stage are looking to standardize or have a standard operating environment, be it on-prem or in the cloud or wherever they wanted to take it, right?
Okay.
The problem most enterprises, and maybe this was 2, 3, 4 years ago, is you had a multitude of, and let's keep it to a simple layer like the OS layer, a multitude of different OSs running within an enterprise, right? And now with people starting to tell us that they want to move towards the cloud, everybody's looking for something standardized, because if you run it on your premise on this side, and you want to move your workload or your information or whatever towards the cloud or in a hybrid cloud type of model, if you don't have the same type of environment on the one side, how do you expect to get the same results going into the cloud? So from my perspective, it's a standard operating environment.
Okay. I like that. That I get to it. And that's leading into one of the, I think we're on a 50-50 here, is asked in the second question was, does it matter where your data is stored? Where my enterprise workloads reside is less of a concern now than it was 2 years ago. And it's 56 false. They're saying it does matter where it resides. And 44% of our attendees are saying it really doesn't matter to me, which talks then that people want choice about where they want to store it. Magnus, are you seeing the same thing from a European perspective? Is this a common where depending CIO strategy to architect strategy, people just want choice? And how do you facilitate that?
I can confirm that people want choice, and what we have seen that's been a ride. I mean, moving to the cloud, hybrid solution, getting back to on-prem solutions, and so on. I would say that what we are seeing somewhat might be during the pandemic. I would say that a lot of our customers are actually moving somewhat out from the cloud, going back to on-prem solutions. But
Sure.
of course, there is a hybrid model, and if I may say something, that there are very simple solutions for an end customer to make that choice, because there are features like bring your own subscriptions with you to the cloud, move them back to on-prem.
Wow. You've spoken to where do my enterprise workloads live, and what is that? 63% of people are saying on-prem or the local data center. That's where Datacentrix plays. So you guys have been having a bumper month, having a bumper quarter, Graham. Does that mean that yourself selling a lot of these power solutions? And what is it speaking to? What is driving there? Is it as simple as what Quinton's saying? People want an uncomplicated architecture where they can focus on the business.
I do think so. We are seeing a number of clients talking to us around the power, and obviously from yourself's point of view, the new power is being launched as well. So yes.
So Kirsten asked a question which I'm going to pose to Graham and Quinton, not to yourself and Magnus. I'm going to come to you now. Kirsten has said, how do you know whether digital transformation is working at your organization? I'm going to turn that question to you, Quinton, and say, how do you enable digital transformation at your customer through Datacentrix?
I think we need to look at it a bit more broader. Digital transformation, you see success there, but the success side of it is the culture change within an organization as well, right? So at the end of the day, to be digitally, or saying we're digitally transforming, is Is there a culture change? Are people actually focusing that the application is actually getting more and more important? Are we talking to the infrastructure side to say we need the standardized environment so that we can create these cloud native applications that we want to push out there? I'm not entirely sure how you, and again, it's difficult to answer. I'm not entirely sure how you gauge if you are successful. The challenge that most companies face, including ourselves when we talk to people, is it does take a culture change as well in that sense.
Okay. And the lady asked a question which kind of adds on to Kirsten's, and I don't think you answered my question,
Okay.
but we'll get back to that. The lady says, how do we determine which architecture will lead us to, and I'm inverted commas, a future-proof architecture? Yasal, why is this important for us now, this future-proof concept, when we are thinking about Datacentrix? I mean, surely we shouldn't care about the
actually, we have to think in different dimensions as well. Number one, as you mentioned, while we're trying to respond to the demands as fast as possible and keep the data secure with zero trust and make sure it's secure and refined properly, and be more agile and flexible and automated as much as possible. And while considering all these TCO and TCA, we get ready for the right architectural and infrastructure solution across MEA, globally as well. Our customers, they need a solution which will help them to yield more profit, more successful, and help their clients. So that's why, especially, the solution that we are working with our clients nowadays is the real private cloud solution. What does it mean? So we would like to give the luxury, we would like to give the benefit of real private cloud. So you will get the infrastructure with the resources, and you will only pay as you use. Could be prepaid or postpaid. What does it mean? You have the resources of the servers, SUSE Linux Enterprise, operating systems, even the virtualization on the server and on the resources in a pool, and only you pay as you use with the consumption, which is the unique. That's why we care about all these important, pillars, considering data, responding, fast, considering the trust and the automation. But the TCO and the TCA, OPEX and CAPEX models should be considered and should be worked precisely with our customers, which yields our private cloud solution.
So finance and IT should be part of these discussions early on in order to build a good way forward. And we should be talking to the Datacentrix account managers here to make a comprehensive business case. We're still in the age of business cases. In order to get these things through, it's just OPEX or CAPEX. Who's the main beneficiary of this technology, Magnus? If it means an uncomplicated world, is that not just a Datacentrix that's getting better? Does it make more support more simple? Does it do anything for the end customer using SUSE with Power?
Absolutely. I mean, for the end customer, first of all, as mentioned before, it is the bundled solution instead of a lot of features that are picked together. I can also say that another benefit for the customer is that we can provide sub-capacity pricing. So you just use the machine for what you need it for, and you can on the other X% put other workloads in. I mean, that's a very, very good benefit when it comes to reducing the cost for the customer. And it's I'm not going to explain it here because it's I would say it's an easy solution, but how you count it is basically per socket. But there is a formula behind it.
Okay. And does this help from an integration strategy perspective if we've got the two of you working so strongly together? Does that, I mean, we're talking about going from point to point into containers, into all sorts of new integration methods. Where do you see this playing a role, Magnus or Yassel?
Maybe Yassel, would you answer that one, because it comes more on your side with the technology there. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. But I would like to underline one important point as well. We have right now more than 4,000 clients running their SAP HANA on Power Solutions. And they are, and the ratio is about 95% from operating system perspective, which is dominated by SUSE Linux Enterprise. That's a message. So our clients rely on SUSE. They are running their SAP HANA on SLS, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, on Power Systems. And we're talking about 4,000, more than 4,000 customers. And why? The question is why behind that. So we have been working with SAP very closely with SUSE in mid-2015. We're talking about last 7 years experience. And from generation Power 7 to Power 10, last two generations, it's proven that this couple, Power and SUSE Linux Enterprise, the right solution, especially for ERP solutions, especially for HANA. And, you know, it's a lesson learned and customer experience, public references, success stories, they're over there. That's why our customers, they're also talking to each other, because they're, you know, they're also competing in different industries. They would like to get the best benefit, best solution for their specific industry, for their specific goals. And together, IBM and SUSE, we are trying to add value on top of it. While they're trying to reach their goals, we're working together side by side. And especially with SUSE, it's going to be a little bit technical, but especially SUSE Linux Enterprise version 15 with Service Pack 3, it's amazing from automation perspective, from deployment perspective, from HR perspective. So a perfect combination, not only from technical perspective, but also from financially, as Magnus mentioned, the right solutions over there, for not only for enterprise, for small and medium business as well.
Can I? Thanks. Would it be okay that I add one thing very quickly here?
That's why you're here.
Thanks, Yassel, for jumping in on my question there. But as a SAP for SUSE and as well IBM, SAP for SUSE is an innovation partner and a customer. That means that HANA is developed on SUSE as the operative system and the platform. SAP is also a customer of SUSE. So their whole HANA environment, their own environment, is running on SUSE. So the multiple reasons. And sorry for jumping in.
No, that's why you're on this call. Which leads me into the next discussion. I'm going to throw it out there. I think, Magnus, you'll take that. What are the hot topics around enterprise architecture today?
Asking, I'm still
yes.
Okay, great.
Go to Scandinavia, man. Come on, Scandinavia.
So much. Thank you. The hot topics. I mean, first of all, the hottest topic in this call for us, that is Power 10. We are really waiting for Power 10. Mid-July, I think Yassel will confirm when this will come, and you will see a lot of new good things in it. The second topic, and now I will address it in general terms, that is Kubernetes, of course. Everybody's talking about containers, our launcher solution for managing containers, and as well as a security solution, what is called NeuVector.
Okay.
So my three hot topics, Power 10, launcher, NeuVector.
Okay. And why is it so important for you? I mean, Yassel, you're welcome to dive in. Quentin, you're welcome to dive in as well. I'd love to hear your opinion on what architects are struggling with and what are we talking around, what are we chewing on? What's the next 6 months where we're going? Who's that? Is that Yassel? Come off mute, man.
I will. I do. I mean, I lost the connection for a couple of seconds. So, power generations. Dear team, I mean, our dear attendees.
Our generation, from a South African perspective, is not an architectural discussion.
No.
That is just we live
why Power 10 is important to us, because it increases not only per core performance over previous generations, but also the scale out and mid-range, as my friend mentioned, will be available in July, which means in a couple of weeks' time. So we have been waiting for this for almost 4 years. It's bringing, especially from SUSE Linux Enterprise and SAP HANA perspective, it's bringing a lot, benefits. Number one, as I said, we don't have the luxury to keep the resources in South Africa idle for any client, for any partner. It should be utilized. So per core performance from SAP published benchmarks, it's unbelievable. Number two, bandwidth of memory, especially I'm specifically underlining SAP HANA here as well, because SUSE Linux Enterprise and Power, best solution for SAP HANA with Power 10 scale out and mid-range. Bandwidth is unbelievable. Up to 8 terabyte of memory for a scale out server with doubling the memory bandwidth. Because it's running in memory. We need
so we can watch more movies quicker.
It is
fantastic. Fantastic.
In your seatbelt.
Come on, yourself. Talk to me about what architects are keeping them awake at night. We need less of these things. I've got a very interesting comment in the chat, which I'm bringing to you now, yourself.
Yes, tell me.
Quentin, what's on your whiteboard from an architectural perspective?
Actually, the same as Magnus at this stage. There's definitely a lot of movement around containerization of applications.
Okay.
The Kubernetes
so that whole integration web, that whole complexity of getting 20 of our operational systems optimized, talking to one another is still, we've been doing this for years now.
I believe it's still a discussion. I think it's becoming probably more important because of all of these. The new business or the new enterprise at this stage is definitely looking at ways of putting out their applications, their online applications or whatever it is to their customers quicker and, faster and working, perfectly and analyzing what they're getting from it. And, because people were pushing that way, there was probably a period, and you've had these talks maybe 3-4 years ago where people said, I'm not going to use bad language, but they said, listen, my developers are all doing, their own thing. And I've got this problem where they're just basically creating their own OS quickly on there. And then they're developing this and it's not running on my environment.
Yeah.
Right. And slowly but surely, because this thing is happening, now we have to drag the discussion back to, okay, but guys, then, we need to find a way that we can give the developers the platform, the ways to do it so that the operations guy that sits on one side doesn't have to go and worry about, we're probably going to discuss, but I saw somebody mentioning something about security.
That's my question. So this is one for yourself. Come on. We've got it in the comments. Guys, use the questions, please, so I can see it. But I noticed security seems to be one of the bottlenecks concerning operational requirements and sometimes development. I wouldn't say sometimes, always. How are you finding adoption of SecDevOps, where there are some open source binaries where they're historically known to be insecure? Yasel, how can you be saying that Magnus should be invited to the party if we know that they're bringing potential security risks into the mix?
But we have to consider a couple of things, my friend. Number one, as Leo mentioned, zero trust is a long-term project, number one. But you cannot order it out of a box. So it's not a single product or solution. It's not. And understanding and controlling how users, processors, devices engage with the data is the fundamental purpose of, I would say, zero trust. So multiple data points are required to paint an accurate picture of the activity on the network, evaluation its legitimacy, and prevent threat actors, literally movements. So mining user and device data with security relevant information such as location, time, logged behavior, just name it, can be used by the system to allow or deny access to specific assets. And the decision is clear. Decision is logged of using feature suspicious activity analytics. And this process applies to every individual access recourse to a sensitive, resource. The good news is that the transition can be incremental.
There's no problem. You're saying there's no problem having Magnus around the table?
No. So we
definitely not. Well, I'm going to get to Magnus. I can see the Viking coming out of him. I can see the Viking.
So we have to make sure security is not just a firewall. Security is not just a checkpoint thing. No, it starts with the infrastructure as well, from architecture level, from the memory encryption, from the from CPU level as well as from the OS level. So it starts from not just one product, not just one item. It's from end to end. We have to know that.
Awesome. Magnus, are you the breach? Are you the weakest link that we're coming? Come on, Magnus. If Datacentrix is pushing this and saying to customers, this is a brilliant place to run your SAP environment, is Magnus the weak link in the thing here? Is that a true statement that came through?
Wrong statement. Sorry. No.
I'm so glad there's no light on you. You've got the Viking look here.
I would still say no. Together with IBM Power Systems and SAP, I mean, it's the bundle that is the strongest link of us three vendors working together with the most powerful machine, the most secure Linux, with the most included features, such as security, you could also mention that live patching is included. There are security issues when you're going to patch your system. You're going to close it down, reboot, etc. Right? Which also can give you a very, very high cost if this is not run the proper way. So no, I still say it's the perfect solution, and therefore 94% of all the HANA customers on IBM Power are on SUSE.
So we've spoken a lot about SAP. You do obviously run other applications on there, hey? Or is that the majority that would suit this environment? Graham?
I think from a power point of view, it's a very strong message that IBM is driving with SUSE. Yes, there are lots of other applications and that run extremely well on the Power and SUSE platform. Okay.
So we're not exclusive. We're not only going
absolutely
to SAP.
not.
All right.
I think this, Daniel, just to add to Graham there, the SAP use case, right, or business case that we're using is just a very powerful use case to show the capabilities of SLES on Power, right? Because SAP databases and information that people want to get and whatever are extensive, and it's a good use case to show you that SLES on Power actually works well.
Well, Quentin, we've had a discussion here regarding the great migration, and we've got customers that are saying, like, dude, why? SAP is going to put it out again. Yesel, is that what you're saying from that people are still not out of the starting blocks? And is this a good time to come and chat to you if they want to fast track their migration? What would it benefit them considering migrating on Power?
It's amazing, perfect time. So when we all talk about SAP HANA right now, but as you mentioned, especially if you talk about Power and if you talk about SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, SAP HANA is the right discussion point. So it needs a migration from SAP ECC to SAP HANA. At the end of the day, SAP HANA is a database solution for ERP solutions, exactly. So it needs migration, it needs assistance, it needs assessment, it needs, it needs work, definitely. So we together, Datacentrix, with SUSE teams and IBM lab services and consulting teams, we are ready to help you to assess your environment when the time comes for you to move to and migrate to SAP HANA. So till 2027, you're good to go with the SAP ECC, traditional one, but it's obviously already announced by SAP itself that we have 5 years. The sooner the better. Let's work together, let's assess your environment, and keep in mind, Power 10 scale out will help you to protect your data in memory with transparent memory encryption. And your database is running in memory.
Awesome.
We're ready to help you. Yep.
Awesome. Yasal, that's a great wrap up for you as we're coming up to the hour. I'm going to ask you just to think about the questions I'm going to ask the team. I'll come back to you now. Magnus, for joining us all the way from your faraway land where it's not getting dark at the moment and it's summer. We are very jealous. If you had to give someone advice when they're considering a modernization of their architecture, and they are thinking of diving further into open source, and they're thinking of looking at this new power environment, what advice on a checklist would you give them of 3 to 5 points that you would say is important for them to look at?
Also, always the cost, right? The cost is always going to be an important factor. Then I would say second, and let me just think for it. Then we're talking about the actual migration. Of course, you need skilled people, but you have a product out there, IBM Power, the hardware. You have our SUSE, and actually, it installs itself. There is a lot of complexity when you want to migrate, but our system installs itself with a wizard, with a solution around it. You also want visibility and control of what you're doing. And I would say that as a consolidated view of activities and performance. We've already we already mentioned security, there is availability. Is there a management tool? Yes, there is a management tool called SUSE Manager. It's not integrated, it's an add-on, but it's a very, very good management tool that fits into the TCO that I talked about, because you're in control of patching, you're in control of where you are. You might have systems or licenses or subscriptions that starts and ends at different dates. If you have multiple of those, that's very, very tough to manage.
Awesome.
That's my simple answer. Maybe it became 7. Sorry about that, Dan.
That's perfect. Magnus, thank you for being so open to be on this call and for sharing your knowledge. The prep sessions were amazing with you as well. It is a pity you're a long way away, or else I'd give you a bottle of wine. Quentin, as the newest kid on the block from a Datacentrix perspective, if you had to say to a customer, if you had to say a pitch to a customer in Datacentrix that they won't get somewhere else?
Right, so let's see, it might be a 10-second or a 20-second one. In the 2 months I've been here thus far, the one thing is Datacentrix are good as an infrastructure partner, and Datacentrix has the skills in-house, and I've met a lot of the people that's keeping other customers' environments alive and making sure that their businesses are on and running profitably. And we've got a track record of many, many, many years. From a personal perspective, I would not have joined a company such as Datacentrix if I didn't think that they have got the, what it takes for us to build out a new type of vision from a Linux perspective.
Brilliant answer. Thank you, Quentin. And 56% of our respondents say that operational effectiveness is being impacted by staff movement and the war on talent. And that talks to having a partner like Datacentrix with gravitas and with size. Graham, my final wrap from you, what's your focus for the next 6 months from a Datacentrix perspective, and where are you taking this organization?
So I think from our point of view, obviously our focus is to grow our side in the market. All right. Datacentrix was not previously that well known as a Linux partner. That is the focus of what we are changing, that we are there to help our customers. Linux is everywhere, whether you like it or not. Every single client has some kind of Linux in their environment. Obviously, combined with our IBM partnership, that is what we're looking to drive into the market today.
Awesome. That's the next 6 months, which speaks then to Yasal as your wrap up here. Yasal, what would change in the IT team if they rolled out this solution? How would they change their operational to take advantage of it? And why would you say it's worthwhile? Before you answer that, before I forget, Graham, where do people learn more? Is Datacentrix website? Can they just go into datacentrix.com?
.co.za.
.co.za. Go and have a look. Yasel, what would change
Yeah.
in the IT team by using this this power environment with SUSE on top?
But I have to say, I love the discussion. But in a nutshell, I would say three important things. Number one, modernization, not only of the infrastructure, of the architecture, as well as from Kubernetes perspective and microprocessor perspective, you have to get ready for it. You may have the best solution, best software, but if you don't have the right infrastructure with the right architecture, it will not pay off. Number two, real flexibility, real flexibility. I'm not saying only public or private cloud. You have to have an environment that you can really utilize and consume properly. Flexibility means Linux. Flexibility means open source, which will run on power systems better than others. I have to say that. It's indispensable. Linux and open source. Get ready for it. And number three, last one. About TCO, TCA, yes, financial is important, but you have to do it with the right teams. Data-centric teams, with IBM teams, with SUSE teams. You have the team, you have to work with the team who knows their stuff, right SMEs. That's the only way to be successful.
Awesome. I love
Excellent.
that summary. I love what we've said there. And Magnus, Quentin, Graham, Yasel, it's been lovely to have a little bit of your time. You know, from a poll perspective, people are saying that they don't know whether or not to store stuff in cloud, on-prem, in country, out of country. What this partnership is giving them is choice. And they're giving them choice whether you're on an SAP backbone or whether you're on a different ERP environment. You can use this partnership to fast scale your digital transformation. Great chat. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thanks, Magnus.
And lady who is back. I hope you have a warm day. I'm going to hand it straight to Carrie and give you a minute to wrap.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan, and thanks to our panelists. What a great conversation. So I wanted to say thank you to all of our attendees for joining today. I do hope that you found today's session insightful and that we answered some of your questions. Please always feel free to reach out to me. I like to know what you think of our sessions and how we can improve to assist you on your journey. We will be doing a webinar report back, which will be published online. We'll make this a video available so you can share it with your team. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys at the next one.
Excellent.
Thank you, Carrie.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Dan.
Gary. And Daniel, thank you very much
Everyone.
for driving the show.
Thanks, Daniel.
It was
Have a
amazing.
good day.
Yeah.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye-bye.
In closing, we'd like to thank Datacentrix, IBM, and SUSE for sponsoring this episode. Without sponsors like this, we wouldn't be able to produce all our series and interview all our wonderful people. If you have ideas on folks that we should be interviewing or would like to appear on the show, please reach out to us.